Welcome to Majority Rules. This is Season 1, Episode 7. I can't believe that we've made it this far. So this is a podcast about Mizzou Athletics Majority, which is Olympic sports athletes. The gang is back together. Oh my gosh. This is very exciting. Very exciting. Who knows if it'll happen again, but we've got everybody here now, so I'm pretty pumped.
We got the quad box today.
What's up?
We got the quad box today.
Yes, the quad box. How exciting. So I was going to say up front, I was thinking about, as I was watching the Mizzou Volleyball games this weekend, I was like, oh my God, we can have like a subtitle for this episode and call it the Jordan Iliff episode. And then Mizzou went and ruined everyone's lives. Well, temporarily at least. I was quite annoyed. But Matthew, we'll talk about that. About Mizzou Volleyball soul-sucking ways. Yay. Anyway, so I'm the host of this wonderful podcast, Karen Steeker. I'm the Olympic sports manager at Rocket Nation, and I write about softball and gymnastics. And let's go to Abigail.
Hi, I'm Abigail, and I'm the cross-country distance and track and field reporter here at Rocket.
And then Rory.
Hey guys, I'm Rory. Right now I've been covering golf, but with swim and dive around the corner, you'll get some of that from me, and fall ball, baseball this weekend. So you'll kind of see me in and around a couple Olympic sports.
And then finally, the roommates.
Yes, so I'm one half of the roommate duo. I'm Dylan Heinrich. I am the soccer and part of the women's basketball team here for Rock M Nation, and also now part-time photographer, maybe. Who knows? Got a couple more tricks in the bag, but
You're the emergency backup photographer.
yeah, it's like NHL goalies. I'm the
Exactly.
third option.
Yeah.
We had to pull from the minors for not that you're minor leagues, Dylan. I appreciate your photography.
And then, as Karen previewed, I'm Matthew Gustafson, the volleyball and then also wrestling beat writer here at Rock M. Although, pretty much it's just going to be volleyball for me today.
All right, let's get to it. In season sports, we're gonna start with Dylan. Good week for Mizzou Soccer. W. Sorry, I have a boo-boo on this. W. All right, Dylan, tell us the good news.
So I'm gonna hop a bit on my high horse because I've been putting it out there in the universe. I've been saying, okay, this team's different. Something's got to give. Something's gonna happen, and it took an 8-2 loss to Arkansas, but I think it's finally happened. Mizzou Soccer goes 1-0-1 on the week. They traveled to Tuscaloosa, a team that was projected to finish top 6 in the SEC, I believe, ended up taking a point there with an absolutely amazing goal from Milena Fisher. Kate Phillips had a bunch of good saves in net, preventing the Tide from getting more than one goal. Even that one goal was an absolute laser. So really can't blame Kate Phillips on that. Good to get 1 point on the road in that matchup. Then you head to Mizzou, Florida at home, facing another SEC team that's been struggling. Tigers wasted no time. An immediate goal from Olivia Chinelli, who had only gotten one start previously, but was put in due to injuries. Did all the dirty work in front of the net, was able to chip it over the goalkeeper, and then deja vu, like 3 minutes later, also off a corner kick. Chinelli looked like she was going to score again, got fouled by the keeper. So you bring in your ace, Kylie Simmons, who buries it in the top corner like nobody's business. And then Tigers just continue to hold on after that. Only downside from this weekend, they got outshot. They didn't hold possession a lot of it, but when they got those chances, they made the most of it. So I feel like even with all these injuries, they're starting to find kind of a rhythm. And a lot of these sophomores and freshmen, especially on that back line, special shout outs to players like Landis Canada, Morgan Miador, and Callaway Combs, who are stepping up and playing positions they usually don't play, but were so crucial to getting those 4 points and putting them firmly in contention for a spot to go to the SEC tournament, as they only take the top 12 out of 16 teams now. So very, very exciting weekend for Mizzou Soccer. This, hoping that it's not a 1 week wonder and this can be something they can continue to build on to try and secure points down the stretch.
It seems like this isn't the first game where it's been, well, they keep getting outshot a lot. Like, the discrepancy between the opponent and Mizzou just seems to be gigantic, except for that it's not necessarily leading to like Mizzou won this game despite being, I think I had written down that Florida had 17 shots to Mizzou 6. Like, that's insane.
Sounds about right. I mean, in terms of shots on goal, they were actually pretty similar. I know in the Alabama game, it's been on my mind, they only had 6 of their 24 shots actually go on goal, and there were very few of them in both the Florida and the Alabama game. There were maybe like 2 or 3 in both that you felt, okay, these are really high danger chances. A couple of them just rolled straight to Phillips. So while Mizzou isn't maintaining possession and isn't like controlling the shot battle, they're very much in a sense where when they get the ball, they're creating those high danger chances, and then they're not allowing a lot of those high danger chances on the other side. So in terms of like actual goals expected created, it ends up being quite a narrow margin for how wide the shot battle is in a sense.
So I would like you to share something about the performance of Miss Kate Phillips, because wow.
Kate Phillips has been just the underrated queen of Mizzou Soccer. Even back last year, she made a couple starts as a freshman when Hollenbach was injured. Hollenbach got hurt again, has been battling something on and off. She had a really good game against A&M that got overshadowed because it was a loss. Struggled against Arkansas with the behemoth that is their offense, but now has been on an absolute tear. Made a couple really good saves against Bama, but of course the highlight was these 9 saves, which is the most in 7 years for a Mizzou Soccer goalkeeper. It's crazy. There were a lot of aggressive plays where she would just charge out of the box and just make a diving save. It looked like she was
I have one of those.
Straight in the stomach a couple times, but it was just an act of pure heroism. And I mean, they were still like up 2 at this point. It wasn't even like it was one to tie the game either. So far, Kate Phillips has really gone from a backup into kind of an emerging star in a sense. And the fact that she's only in her sophomore year, it's extremely inspiring what she's been able to do so early on. And I mean, we all know how good Bella Hollenbach has been in the past, but don't sleep on Kate Phillips. I mean, I think there's a chance she could lead this team to some very high successes down the rest of this season if that's the route Coach Golan decides to go.
Well, and Bella's graduating too, right?
She is currently graduating from the University of Missouri in the spring. She has 1 more year of eligibility. When I spoke to representative of the program, Mr. Toby Lau, he said that current plans are undecided for next year. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of stuff up in the air, but whether it's Bella next year, whether it's Kate Phillips, I know they also have an incoming freshman goalkeeper that will be around. I think the Mizzou goalie situation is something not to be worried about, especially for the rest of this season.
And then besides Kate, obviously, who's your MVP?
I definitely think I'm going to give 2 shout outs besides Kate. Olivia Chanelli, she started 1 game against Texas A&M, had a really good start, didn't start against Arkansas, but then started the game against Florida later on. And like I said, she was doing all the dirty work in the front. She was in charge with screening the goalkeeper, was able to bury that rebound for her goal in the first goal against Florida, and then she was taking on that same role 3 minutes later, got fouled, and led to the Kylie Simmons goal. So even though it'll count as a goal for Simmons, all that hard work and dirty work was created by Shinelli, and I don't really see a world where you can take her out of that starting lineup, because what Mizzou's kind of been looking for is that net front presence, someone who can get in front of the keeper, not afraid to get dirty. And I think that's something that Shinelli can absolutely do, kind of work the screener role that you see a lot in hockey. I think some more of that net front presence to put coverage on the goalkeeper is very good. Another player I want to give a shout out to, Morgan Miedor. I believe she's a redshirt freshman defender. It won't get a lot of press, but Rachel Catella was out for the last game against Florida, so they didn't really have that senior leadership on the back line. When I talked to Golan after the game, she said that Morgan Miedor was able to take that vocal role on, able to communicate with a lot of those other players like Landis Canada and Callaway Combs, who are still either learning new positions or getting unprecedented playing time compared to earlier in the season. So Morgan Miedor, still in her first year starting as well, is already kind of controlling that back line and being molded into the mastermind of the Mizzou defense, which is extremely impressive. I saw her back in the spring games, fall practices, and now here in the season, it's kind of all coming together. And as a whole, these underclassmen from Mizzou done an incredible job so far this year. I don't think we've truly given enough credit to how well Coach Golan has started to recruit, especially bringing in players like Kylie Simmons, Morgan Miedor, Kate Phillips.
Mm-hmm. And we'd be remiss to not talk about the seniors.
Yes.
So did any of them, you think, have a standout performance against Florida?
I will say of the seniors listed below, it's a shame Rachel Catella couldn't play against Florida. Just an absolutely amazing player on the back line. But I think Leah Selm in the midfield is not really going to stick out to you from a stats perspective, but what she does as a vocal leader and the way that you can kind of see the defense shifts and the shapes around her, she's always done a good job to keep Mizzou within themselves. So while she's not going to get any of the glory from this game, and while not earning MVP honors, I think as a senior, just her vocal voice, in a sense, just being able to control the entire team and be that calming presence on the pitch, kind of something that gets underrated and not talked about enough in sports as a whole, especially when it comes to college soccer.
And then finally, they have a game on Friday at Tennessee. How is Tennessee looking this season?
Tennessee is really good so far this year. They lost their road opener against Indiana, have not lost since. They've had a couple ties against teams like Alabama and Vanderbilt, who maybe you would expect them to beat, but they haven't been able to separate themselves from. Other than that, they've also got like big non-conference wins against Tennessee. Memphis, also located in Tennessee, tied with UCLA. It's been
Thank you for the geography lesson.
I can pull out a map next time, no worries. But as a whole, I think the message going in there is the same message for Alabama, is just fight to compete. Don't get blown out of the building. Don't give up those leads early. The longer you can stay in that game, the more likely you are to walk away with a point for a tie, or even tack on a late goal with some of that offensive talent you had 4-3. But again, avoid that initial volunteer attack and continue to push forward. And who knows, good things can happen the longer you keep a game tied and the more frustrated you make that home opposing team.
Yeah, for sure. And then coming up for you writing wise, I know you've been working on something about Landis Canada.
Yes.
When may we expect to see that?
It's going to be a couple weeks. I just did my first interview with with Landis on Monday, so now working the whole complete story. But Landis Canada, honestly, still an underrated player somehow. She's played like the last 4 or 5 games in completion as a freshman in like 3 different spots on the field. So everything she's done has kind of gone under the radar, but is still part of changing that culture and changing that ideal that Mizzou Soccer can and hopefully will be so much more very soon. So I'm very excited for everyone to see that. Otherwise, got another preview coming up for Tennessee. I got to talk to my good friend and Tennessee beat writer Jack Church, and so he will be providing a little bit of insight on the Lady Vols heading into that matchup.
Nice.
Keep an eye on that for Thursday.
Did you just say Lady Vols?
Balls?
Balls. Like the volunteers.
Balls, yes.
Not bowls like moles.
They're not.
That's going to be the
Vernon,
first
though.
time I've ever heard anybody pronounce it voles before.
I don't know why I do that. It's that
It
Colorado.
should just be the volunteers. I think everyone's mispronouncing it by putting the lady thing. What are we doing with the
Yeah.
lady balls?
It's
I will say I told them that that's technically what they call themselves, but I also
understand.
hate it.
It's disgusting. No offense.
It's volunteers, just the
It's
volunteers.
Yeah, just
Would be
whatever you do,
balls.
do not look up Central Arkansas.
Oh, theirs is even worse.
Do not look up
I
Central Arkansas.
refuse to say that on the air.
Mizzou Volleyball played them last year, and honestly, kind of shocking that they get away with what the
It's a
women's
point of
teams are called
principle,
there.
honestly.
But speaking of, should we get into volleyball?
Oh yeah, I was going to say though, Lannis Canada also contributing to the stellar academic reputation of the soccer team. I have
Last
in
time I
class this
checked,
semester.
I think it was spring semester, ranked 4th in all of Division One. I believe Harvard was also up there. So that's it's a very, very academically high profile team. Everyone I've talked to whenever I interview them, they always shout out their homework studies in the hotel room. So I know that if I want to study with anyone, I want to study with the Mizzou soccer team. That's for sure.
Guys, as a soccer player myself, they're more than great athletes, you know?
Yeah.
Just need more.
I'm really humble about this topic. You know, they're just so well rounded.
I love it. Job, Rory.
It's student
Good job.
athlete, not athlete student. All right, let's get that straight.
Student athlete. Yeah. All right, Matthew.
All right.
Volleyball. There was some good. There was some sadness.
There was a lot of good up until the third set in the second match of the weekend. Why don't we start with the good, though? Entering the week, they had been on a 5-match winning streak. They extended that to 6 against LSU. This is a team they lost to in Baton Rouge last season, and this really went to show they are an improved team this year. They sweep them 25-22, 25-12, 25-19. That right there is a blowout. It is not easy to sweep a team and do so dominantly. In the SEC, Mizzou hit 375 to 193. They had 10 aces in this match. They had really good stats across the board, 44 assists to 26 for LSU, 40 digs to 22 for LSU. And that was one of the things that really stood out was the defense. And that was also something that stood out against Texas A&M. But Mychael Vernon, fantastic match, 17 kills on an absurdly efficient 640 hitting percentage. Oh, by the way, she also had 7 digs, a block assist, and 3 service aces to go with that. Absolutely phenomenal performance. And that carried over for her into the match against Texas A&M. This was one that was going really well for the Tigers. They won the first set comfortably 25-17. They were rattled at the beginning, but then they went on a massive 10-0 run featuring 7 service aces by Jordan Iliff, who is quickly proving herself to be one of, if not the best, servers in college volleyball. That turned the set on its head. Mizzou at 5-22 in that set. The second set, they won that one as well, 25-20. They only hit 220 in that one, but they also limited Texas A&M to a 171 hitting percentage. So again, the defense coming into play. And they were up 22-16 in the third set. All signs looked like they were heading towards a very comfortable sweep of Texas A&M, which would have been a massive statement victory for this team, proving they had fully left behind the loss against South Dakota earlier in the season at the NKU Invitational. A&M is a tournament team. They may be a top 25 team at some point this season, and sweeping them on the road is extremely difficult, and that's exactly what it looked like the Tigers would do, and that's exactly when disaster struck. A&M goes on a 9-1 run to end that third set. They take set number 3. They take set number 4, 25-21, and all of a sudden they have the momentum going into that 5th deciding set. They're up 7-3 in that 5th set, and then Mizzou goes all the way back, led by Mychael Vernon, to tie it up at 10-10, but A&M had the final word. They went on a 4-1 run to close out the set, winning at 15-12 and completing a very, very improbable reverse sweep. Now, one of the issues, a lot of this was self-inflicted by the Tigers. When you look at the stats, 8 attack errors in the third and fourth sets combined. After that first set, they hit below 225 in each of these successive sets, and they, for the most part, did fairly well to contain Texas A&M. 275 hitting percentage, you like to see that be a little bit lower, but at the same time, they're one of the best offenses so far in the SEC. Now, one of the other issues, A&M has a very strong middle blocking pair in the Fena Kazapala and Italo Pollo, and they helped A&M with 13 team blocks. That is a lot of team blocks for a match, even if it is 5 sets. So basically, they had 5 excellent sets during this weekend and 3 which were a disaster. This was a shocking collapse by this Tigers team. And once again, just when you think that most of their issues are behind them, no need for concern. See some of the issues start popping up again. But Mychael Vernon, the bright spot from this weekend, 26 kills. She hit over 300 in that A&M match. That tied a career high for her, and that's why she was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week this week. And I should say that Jordan Iliff, she struggled after the first set, but she did break her own game record for aces in a match. Very impressive, that run. Like I said, she's been an unbelievable server so far. But you saw a situation where everybody except Vernon got cold, ice cold, in those third, fourth, and fifth sets. And when that happens, there's one person that they can isolate, they can target. Vernon got 14 to 25 swings in the fifth set. And when you know where it's going, you can shut her down. And that's exactly what they did. Vernon hit below 200 in that fifth set, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Vernon. She's so good. This was like, damn, just so good. It was so good.
And
there were so many of them like these. Like just
put on a show with that swing.
Killing you.
A huge swing from the out.
So I was very surprised that they were able to add Vernon in the portal. When I was looking at the team's needs in the portal, I figured, okay, they would probably like to bring in somebody at outside hitter to replace Delara Geticola. But I had looked at Vernon, but I figured that there was no way that she would end up going to Mizzou because of her impressive resume. You already had Jordan Iliff, and Vernon is another leader of this hitting, right? She's a leader in terms of getting a lot of hits, getting a lot of swings, getting a lot of kills. And I didn't think they would be able to bring in somebody with that volume and so many kills throughout her career. When you had Jordan Iliff already, they've been able to do it, and they've been a fantastic 1-2 punch so far this season. Mizzou still has a lot of reason for hope. They've been a better team than last year. The SEC is looking weaker than it did last season as well. Some games on the schedule, they would have a very difficult time entering this year. They're looking a lot more winnable right now. And now they have a chance next Sunday against Kentucky, a top 15 team who honestly has not impressed me that much so far this season. Now, they played a lot of top 10 teams, which is why if you look at their win-loss record, it isn't very impressive. But at the same time, I am not convinced with this team. They lost 3-2 to Auburn. Now, it was in Auburn, and Auburn is a top 25 team. But even so, this is a scenario where I think that especially given the motivation of this weekend, they can come out and they can at least take a set from the Wildcats, which would be very encouraging, entering a very winnable stretch of matches for this team. 4-match homestand. After that Sunday match on October 6th, they don't have to leave Columbia until October 25th when they go to Fayetteville. During that time, they face SEMO, Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. All those matches, except for Tennessee, should be clear wins for the Tigers. And you have to feel pretty good about their chances to beat Tennessee, depending on the outcome of the next 3 matches.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to get to go back to Hearns and actually watch them in person instead of on my TV. And I'll keep a hold of my keys and phone this time as to not cause an issue like I did.
And I think the thing to know about this team is that they have the ability to be very good, right? Now, exactly how good that is, we don't necessarily know. We haven't seen them face enough elite competition yet to make that determination, but they have a very efficient offense. They have 2 great middle blockers. Morgan Eisenberg was one of the best middle blockers in terms of total blocks in the SEC last year, and she's not starting, which really shows how great these 2 middle blockers have been. I think that inserting Marina Crownover into the lineup has done a lot for this team's defense, which has impressed me the last few weeks. And this is an offense that's highly efficient. You can afford 1 or 2 people to have an off night, but you can't have almost the main hitters have an off night except for one, right? Vernon had a fantastic match, but they weren't able to get it done because Iliff and Demaray both went ice cold at the same time. You can afford to have one of them have a very lackluster match, one of them have maybe a mediocre match, and then one have a strong match, but you can't afford 2 of them to be ice cold at the same time. Even so, this is an excellent offense, far better and more consistent than last season, and I think that's going to make a difference in SEC play.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And then I know you are meeting with Mychael Vernon this week, so we can expect another episode of your award-winning to us anyway, Over the Net podcast. So
that is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm going to be interviewing Mychael Vernon, coming off of her award as the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. A lot of interesting things that we're going to talk about. Obviously, this Mizzou team transferring from Oregon State. She was a member of the Jamaican national team. That's something I'm sure we'll get into, and a whole lot of other stuff as well. So make sure to check that out when it comes out. Probably Friday would be my best guess.
We'll see.
But we will see.
What's on the podcasting horizon at Rock?
Whenever it pops up on your podcast feed, make sure to give it a listen.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So now Abigail got to watch her sister run against Creek. How exciting. You can talk a little bit about that and then focus mostly on the Tigers, of course.
I will. I was pulling up my notes that I can cover all the storylines because there were so many. I was really fun. I got to go there with Dylan. Dylan was there. And he mentioned that it was like the perfect Abigail Klapatowskis day because I was outside running around a cross-country course, watching my Tigers, and my family was there. And it truly was the perfect Abigail Klapatowskis day. It was so fun getting to watch Leah. She is a freshman for the University of Northern Iowa Panthers. In only her 3rd collegiate race, she scored again for the Panthers. She took 5th in the hundreds. I'm not sure what her final place was overall, but she said, and I echoed, and I think Dylan would attest to, it was a championship style atmosphere. I could not believe how far these fans traveled. I kind of put the challenge out there for the Missouri race to perhaps take a little bit of motivation from Texas A&M's race, and people showed up, and they showed up from Stanford and Auburn and Creighton and all across the country, and they were loud and excited, and they were lining the straightaways, and it was just, there were people there repping every single color. It was so cool. Even in the backfields, normally that's quiet and desolate, and I was standing beside coaches and fans from every single school. In fact, it was the largest men's meet to date. There were 36 men's teams, over 300 runners present on the start line. It was just a massive pack of runners around every single curve. And that just elevates the level of competition because you are never not being chased or being attacked. And that just elevates the level of urgency at every single curve. And that reflected in the times. Every single one of the men's runners on Missouri's team, all 10 set a personal best. Now, the weather also had a factor. If last year was hot and depressing and discouraging for the Tigers, this week was refreshing and cool, overcast, and a PR paradise for the Tigers. And Matthew was talking about how this is categorically a stronger volleyball team. This is statistically a much, much stronger and more dominant Missouri men's distance program this year. It was so incredibly exciting to see them take fourth and beat three SEC opponents that they lost to at SEC championships. They took ninth at SEC championships last year, and they beat all three of them. And I was just so it's so exciting. Obviously, I'm excited. I should calm down, but it's hard cross country.
Abigail, this is a fan site. You be as fan-like as you want. Don't let anybody take that away from you.
It is so hard not to cheer for the runners as they cross your path, especially when you're only by the coaches in the backfields. Rahel was running mostly by herself-ish for the last 2K, and it took every ounce of restraint in me not to just scream her name. I also didn't want to terrify her, but yeah, that part's hard as a fan. As a fanalist, a fan journalist, I try to keep my objectivity, but nothing challenges that more than on the cross-country course. But anyway, back to my point. It's really rare in the cross-country regular season to see these face-to-face SEC matchups, especially for Mizzou, because they're in the Midwest region. They're the only SEC team in the top 15 in the Midwest region right now. Most of their SEC friends fall in the South or South Central region. So the fact that we got to see a head-to-head matchup is so incredible, because unlike other sports where you can look at stats and scores and they're more comparable from game to game, meet-to-meet times make no sense. They're really not comparable because you're talking about a different course, and what a 23-24 on one course is irrelevant to a super hilly course. So anyway, seeing those head-to-heads and still beating Florida, Ole Miss, and Kentucky is incredible. So I was looking at the other team that they would have to beat in order to take top 5, because that was the number that kept getting thrown out in interviews post-race by Ryder James, and that would be Texas A&M. Now, they will not face Texas A&M at the Crimson Classic. They will see them first and last at the SEC Championship. But I did some digging, and the Tigers have a higher ceiling than Texas A&M's top 2 runners. Texas A&M's men are actually also a younger team, and their top 2 runners, 8K PRs, fall below Ryder James' PR. Again, it's hard to do the comparing, but right now I would say that means Missouri has the upper hand in leverage. I've thrown his name out there. Let's talk about him. Ryder James was phenomenal for the Tigers. He took 11th. He was one of 15 runners to break the course record at Gans Creek. This was not just a PR-setting day. This was a record-setting Gans Creek Classic. It was insane. In fact, if you look at, I read all the Gans Creek recaps of all of the teams because I was so excited. So many of the teams set school records. It was insane. Speaking of which, if any of the SIDs are watching, please give me access to the Missouri Cross Country Record Book. It does not exist anywhere online, and I would love to know what the men's top 10, 5K, 8K, 6K records are, because I'm curious if Ryder James is cracking into that top 10 list yet. He was 11th overall, set a 12-second personal best, and perhaps most shockingly to myself, he brought tears to Coach Kyle Levermore's eyes when we interviewed him post-race. Levermore is not someone who I've ever doubted cares about his players. He is incredibly compassionate, and yet he is always one to rein in the perspective, keep the excitement even-keeled. He's always future forward, next goal, next step. And yet, when I asked him about Ryder James, he couldn't help but choke up a little bit, and just his pride was so evident, and it was so sweet. And he said, he alluded to something maybe that had happened last season, or just said, that kid deserves to have the race he had today. And that was really striking. As someone who's interviewed Levermore many times, there's a difference between caring about your athletes and then just that extra layer of this race meant something more. And it didn't only just mean something more to him, it meant something more to their entire team. All top 5 of their scoring runners placed within the top 55, and that is what brought them above Kentucky, who they only beat by 5 team points. So the depth that they have and the ability for them to rotate in a different 7, 8, 9 at their last 2 meets reflects an ability that they didn't have last year to be more competitive at the SECs. So, yeah.
That's exciting. Amazing. So what's next for cross country? Where are they running off to next?
And I like the pun. I don't think I threw in a single pun, so I appreciate that. I'm slacking. Don't worry,
it was accidental that I said that.
Next, they take on Alabama at the Crimson Classic, but they've got a 2-week break, I believe, in which Ryder James said is going to be some grueling training. You know that those off weeks, you have to make up that race pace, feeling those muscles somehow. So that's probably going to come in the form of some extra workouts. I didn't mention the women at all. They took 10th overall as a team. Expect to see them be a little more competitive based on who will be racing at Crimson Classic. Perhaps they'll have a better team finish. Rahel Bermel continued her top 25 streak at meets. She has led the Tigers in all 3 races. She took 16th. I love Rahel for many reasons. She's incredibly kind to interview after the race. She's just very, very humble. Dylan got to meet her too. Just very friendly person. But you can tell she has unlocked that gear of grit that requires to be a top 25 competitor, because she is the first to admit that racing is sometimes miserable, or that it hurts sometimes. In both meets after I've interviewed her, she has always alluded to the fact that she's just happy to be done. And honestly, I don't think there's anything more relatable than that. But often you don't hear those kind of middle of the pack runners alluding to that. I think they don't want to appear weak. And the top echelon knows that if you've unlocked that gear, it's because you've thrown everything out on the course. To cap it off, I asked her, what was your favorite part of the course? You know, it's now one that she has ran twice. And she said, the finish line. And I was like, you know what? I respect that, because that would be probably my favorite part of after running a brutal 6K as well. So,
yeah. So as far as what's next for you, when I know you previously had talked about doing like a run along type of thing, possibly. Is that still maybe?
I went out and I captured some footage and took voice notes of every part of the course. And I think that's going to come in the form of a hype video. So stay tuned. Ooh. I also have a request out for an athlete feature. I won't reveal their name yet, just making sure it works. But I think we are secure in that, because we have 2 weeks. I'd like to do an athlete feature. And then I want to do an SEC breakdown. So look between the Crimson Classic and the SECs. It's hard to get comparison basics, but I'm going to do it. We're gonna do it for the Rockham. That's the Rockham advantage you got here, is breaking down some of their teams that they'll be facing. A lot of whom are Olympians or World Junior Championships. The SEC distance program atmosphere in the country right now is literally the fastest it's ever been, and it's no joke. And Missouri will be going up against some crazy impressive talent.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for your updates, Abigail. I was going to go next, but I'm gonna have Rory go, because she's just been sitting there so patiently throughout this. So Rory, baseball, golf.
Baseball gave me a heart attack earlier today.
Oh my God, me too.
I was sitting in class and I was texting Karen about their schedule and our plans to go see it. And then the entire schedule flipped, and I was texting her and she was like, "Are you crazy?" No. And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, I'm on the site. Like, I swear to God." Basically, they were supposed to go to UIC last weekend for a tournament, which got postponed. Literally, they changed it at about 1 p.m. today that the tournament will be made up this weekend. Neither team posted on their socials about it. They kind of just flew it out there and went, figure it out for yourself. So that was the stressful part of my day. But they'll be back in action.
I thought she couldn't read, guys.
Literally, she was like, "Are you illiterate?" And I was like, "Oh, no." It was a rough class time, but you know what? I survived. I'm here to talk about baseball. So they'll be back at Taylor next week. It's that Friday. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then that next Wednesday, Thursday, I believe, is the games that they'll have at home for their fall World Series. But I'm just excited for this team. I think the ceiling that they have is pretty high. Last year, obviously, is that first year under a new coach, kind of a different looking program. So I'm excited to see in their first opening games what the changes are with this team. I'm just a baseball nerd overall. It's a sport I grew up on. And my mom says that it's ruined me. Take that as you will. I don't know. But I love baseball, so I'm super excited to bring you guys coverage on this shortly. I'll probably throw out some tweets depending on how much content we get from this weekend with Mizzou Baseball, but just keep an eye out for stuff on that.
It'll be interesting to see if they do much with it, because I know with softball, there really wasn't much. Well, in Eric's defense, he was with volleyball.
Well, yeah, and it's
but
fall
there really
ball,
wasn't.
So priority wise, it's not always up there, which I totally understand. So whatever I can find, I'll try and supply every now and then.
For anybody going to, if they happen to be going to the games against UIC, if I may offer a few quick suggestions. Number one, Jim's Original for the original Maxwell Street Polo Sausage in Chicago. There's Al's Italian Beef. There's also Mario's Italian Lemonade where you can get some really good Italian ice. So if you want some goodies.
I want to go home, dude.
There you go.
I want to go home.
Places to go.
I was there. UIC, they have it's the Curtis Granderson field is where the boys play. The softball team plays on a different field. I called the Cubs RBI charity home run derby this summer at UIC with Jeremiah Paprocki, who's the PA announcer for the Cubs. So that was super cool. So UIC, they have a nice field there. So it'll be really cool for Mizzou to play out there.
Wow. Look at you. We're in the presence of greatness, you
right,
guys.
Again, humble as always. Humble as always.
Humble student athlete and like no big deal. Just
she's from Chicago. That's like an important.
That's all I talk about. Genuinely, it's all I talk about. No. Not right now because all of my sports teams are killing me, so it's fine.
I think my roommate right here can attest to the amount of time I spend talking about Chicago.
People from
that's for another podcast, guys. Maybe you can have a
we'll start our own podcast just talking about Chicago.
Yeah.
That
whatever
could be a good idea.
All right. Golf, Rory.
Yeah, golf. So both teams are playing right now. Yesterday, the women's team ended up in 6th place after the day. Fionn Tinan. I listen to pronunciation on her name, so I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that, but I think I've kind of got it. She led the women's team day 1. She also led them today. She carded a 3 under 69, which included 6 birdies, which was a high on the day, just crazy for her. Super cool. She also had an eagle that put her in that 4th place spot. Freshman Alexandra Berglund also was off to a strong start yesterday. She posted a 1 under 71, so she wasn't too far behind Tinan. And she added the team's 2nd eagle. Now today they had day 2 of the tournament. They did slot down to 8th place. As a team, Tinan is still.
I thought it was 6th.
No, they had day 2 today, so they're in 8th. They literally just posted results like an hour ago. And then day 3 will be tomorrow, so we don't have final stats on the tournament for them. But again, Tinan's still in 4th place individually, so it was another big day for her. But as a team, the Tigers kind of struggled today. A lot of them shot at about 6 over, which not exactly what you want to see, but you saw Fleur Van Beek move up. She had a really good day compared to her first day of this tournament. So we'll see tomorrow. Maybe luck will change. 3rd day, things will turn around. They'll get back up. But even though they're in 8th place, if you look at the actual breakdown of all the teams, they're really not even that far behind most teams. And that I'll pull up this just to double check so I don't shoot myself in the foot. But yeah, okay. So in 3rd place, it's over 20. Missouri is sitting at over 33 for their score. But I mean, if they were to move into 4th place, they just need to better their shot for 5 over. So it's really, they're not that far behind as it sounds. Arkansas, however, is the host, and they're carding under 4 as a team right now. So they are pretty well ahead of the pack, but it also is their home course. It's their home turf. So I'm not too surprised about that. But I am excited for day 3, kind of to see how Tinan handles her 3rd day, if she can finish in the top 5. Just, she's had some great tournaments. Fleur Van Beek as well. She had those top 2 finishes in back-to-back finishes in the top 10, excuse me. I don't know if she'll end up there after this weekend, but I still think that where she's at isn't her fullest potential yet. Yeah, right, fingers crossed. I don't think she's reached her fullest potential yet. Again, we're only 3 tournaments into the season, and for her to place that high already is an accomplishment of its own, but I feel like you'll be seeing her name in that top 10 a lot more frequently as we move forward.
Noted Rock Emmy nominee.
Yeah.
1 week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had a great week. The men, if we want to flip gears there, they finished after day one in 10th place. They moved into 8th today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they saw some progress. They've got 2 in the top 15. They've got Vika Viscari, who's carding over 3 currently, and then Virgilio Paz, who's carding just over 4. They sit in 10th and 14th. So they have 2 Tigers in that top 15. So which is pretty cool. They both had some good content come out yesterday. They didn't have a ton today. They honestly didn't post their results until like an hour ago. There's different websites I've been tracking it on all day, but they didn't have an update on their socials till a little bit ago. But up next, the women are going to head to Kansas. Sorry, did I say that word out loud? In the Sunflower Showdown, while the men are off for a little bit.
Thank you. And then your next writing will be something baseball related.
Yeah, I was going to have something about baseball this weekend. I was so excited, guys. But we'll delay on that one for just a
And then they ruined it. They ruined everything.
Took away all my happiness, but it's fine. I'm okay.
I'm just so, you know what I'm the most mad about? They ruined my beautiful Rock M calendar. I had just put all of the baseball stuff in there. And that's why I was like,
if there's
Rory not read?
Like, there's one thing you can trust with Karen, it's always the calendar. Always the calendar.
They changed
with the nice handwriting.
It was so pretty. And then I was like, gotta get out the whiteout.
That's brutal. I hate the whiteout. Like once it goes in their pen, that thing is staying.
I know. Like the markers just don't flow well over the whiteout. Like it just was
and it's a brand new calendar month too.
Mm-hmm.
Very upsetting.
October's already off to a rocky start.
I know. So I'm up next.
On that note.
One team actually started fall ball. And that is our Missouri Tiger softball team. And let me get this up there. And then I have some takeaways. My biggest takeaway is these people need to put some freaking numbers or names on their jerseys. That is my biggest takeaway. And am I yelling? Yes, because it was very frustrating for me and my photographer, Dylan, because there's a lot of new people on this team, and I couldn't tell who was in the field at the time. The only time I even knew who they were is when the announcer said their names when there was a new pitcher in the circle or when they were up to bat. Otherwise, it was like, which blonde girl with her wearing her hair the same way is which? Your guess is as good as mine, guys. So anyway, on a positive note, Mizzou kicked off their fall ball season against Missouri State on Friday, and they won 11-3. They play 10 innings at fall ball. That is a lot of innings. I tried to make it as long as I could. I made it until the bottom of the 8th, and then I was so hungry, I thought I was going to die. I know, that's dramatic. And I was also freezing because I didn't go home before I went to the game. So I was not dressed for it to be in the 50s, I think, by the time that I left the game. So I left in the bottom of the 8th. It was 10-2 at that point. And then I found out it ended up being 11-3. So I wrote about it on the site. You can check it out. I wrote way too many words about a pretty meaningless fall ball game, but I got real excited. So a couple takeaways from me. Pitching wise, The only pitcher we did not see was Marissa McCann. I swear she didn't pitch. I checked back. She did not pitch. So I don't know if we should expect her to start the next one or what exactly is going on there. But she was the only one that did not pitch. I also thought that the junior college transfer Courtney Donahue didn't pitch. Turns out she pitched the 10th inning, which I was gone, so I didn't know. Sierra Harrison got the start. I am really interested to see with no more Lauren Krings how Sierra adjusts to being the new ace of the staff, or if it's kind of a trade-off between her and Marissa for that role. Pitching-wise, I was actually the most impressed with Natalie Touche, our favorite vlogger of the team. She struck out 2 Missouri State batters, including 1 looking. And my favorite part was that the way she reacted when she got the strikeout looking, you wouldn't even have known it was a fall ball game. Like she was into it. Like you would have just thought it was regular season. I thought that was really awesome. Defense wise, I wish I could tell you I knew who I was watching. I don't know, but there were a lot of miscues. I feel like, I know it's just the first game. They haven't been practicing very long, so I'm sure that they'll get that cleaned up. LA's teams are known for being like, she is all about that defense, so I'm sure that they will get that figured out. But there was at least one error at shortstop. Dylan and I could not figure out who the shortstop was at the time. No idea. There was at least one in each outfield spot and one at third. The one at third was not Kara Daly, mind you. Offensively, Abby Hay hit a home run, solo shot. It was great. I think that made it 6-0. Madison Walker, amazing job. Hit a Little League home run inside the Parker. That was pretty cool. Freshman Tolton grad, Madison Updegrove. She had a stand-up double. Tiny Claire Callahan, still tiny. I'm pretty sure she got on base on every single at bat. And had 1 or 2 stolen bases. I kind of lost count at one point. She was kind of easier to figure out which one she is because she is tiny Claire, after all. Stefania Abiscato also had a stand-up double. Julia Crenshaw was batting second. She had a double, and I'm pretty sure she was part of a double steal with Claire Cahalan, so that was pretty cool. Couple other things I noticed. The freshmen are fast. They are fast. Sanaya Hill, who spent part of the game at third base, and I think she might have played some outfield later. She is speedy. One of the other new freshmen, Nevaeh Watkins, she played a good amount in right field. She bunted a lot, and while one of them was pretty close to being a tie, she definitely legged out the other one. She is quite fast as well. And then there's another freshman, Sophie Smith, who also very fast. In terms of the transfers, Taylor Ebbs ran into a bit of bad luck. She hit the ball hard, but she hit it at people. She's a Kentucky transfer. And yeah, that is about it for the game. Dear LA, please put numbers on the back of your players' jerseys so I can tell who we're talking about. And if we could open up the press box, that'd be great too. Because I spelled a lot of people's names wrong in my tweets because I couldn't go from screen to screen with my cold hands and my notebook. Maybe that's a Karen problem, but no, it's an everybody problem. If I can't do it correctly, no one else can. Coming up, they're going to Kansas City. They will face the Kansas City Roos on Friday. And then they'll head to that Lawrence Rose on Sunday to face that KU team. That's disgusting. Then next week they'll be back here. riding wise, I'm going to work on a schedule piece. Once we get the opponents for the second Clearwater tournament, I started working on it, and then I was like, I'm going to hold off on this until we have this whole thing. Yeah. Okay, that's all for softball. Our season sports updates. God, we just have so much to talk about, you guys. This is insane. We're starting with swimming. Me and Rory hitting up Mizzou Aquatic Center on Friday afternoon. Woo!
I'm so excited.
I know, I'm so excited. I'd be even more excited if the SID for swimming would email me back.
Oh,
If
Called
you're
out.
listening,
called out.
Eric. Not Mueller, the other one. The other Eric. That'd be cool if you could tell us what to expect with that. But anyway, we'll be there. We'll be there. Dylan, women's basketball. You got a couple things, I know.
Yeah, so got a couple things. First, we'll get to the news that happened almost a week ago that I totally forgot happened a week ago because this week's been crazy. But we've got an exhibition game scheduled for October 29th, which is a Tuesday against Truman State. This will be just about a week before their first game. So this will be our first real look at the team in a competitive setting. So it'll be very intriguing to see what this team looks like. Obviously, a couple of new freshmen, a lot of new transfers. So it's a very different team from last year, moving on from the Haley Frank era to more of this new look team with Judd and Slaughter at the front. Other things, I guess, really of note, we've got Media Day coming up in a couple of weeks. Toby alluded to it like late October, so give it 2-3 weeks, something like that. Other than that, in some recruiting news, Aubrey Shaw was definitely a high target for the class of 2025. She is Aiden Shaw's younger sister. Was a high up target. Thought Mizzou had a decent chance, but she ends up going to Harvard, which, I mean, geez, you want to go to Harvard or something and get one of the best educations in the nation? I guess that's fine, but for real, congratulations to her and her joining the Crimson team. But still, Mizzou waiting on their first 2025 commit. There's a lot of uncertainty, and so I would be very shocked if they didn't get any commits. But right now, the water's definitely murky as we have now hit October, and still nothing on the 2025 front. So it's not promising, at least from what I'm seeing. Other than that, that's about all I got. It's not a light week. Got about 2 weeks, then we're pumping the gas full force.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I didn't plug in my laptop and it was screaming at me that it was going to die. So that's unfortunate. Whoopsie. Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. I have the gymnastics thing, and then we'll get out of here. They released a hype video today. God, I love some hype videos, guys. They're like my favorite things in the whole world, and they're so well.
It is back. The most electrifying thing.
It's Mizzou Gymnastics has returned. The Tigers are ready to put on a show.
Really established the Missouri brand.
Built a culture that's sustainable, with accountability, hard work,
Love it.
passion.
Love it so much.
Such a good team. It's
Can't wait.
talent and determination. You're not going to find a better show than ours.
Real good. Yeah. So, Mizzou Gymnastics. It's kind of embarrassing how many times I've watched this video. There may be some secrets embedded in that video.
One of my roommates,
So what?
Oh, sorry. One of my roommates is an equipment manager for basketball, but she also does stuff for gymnastics. And I was with her when you texted me, and I was like, "Who's back?" And she went, I don't know what we're talking about. She won't tell me. She hid the Black M jerseys. She hid the Black M jerseys from me. She won't tell me who's back. I can't trust her anymore.
I love it. I love it. So, yeah. So I will say, I can't tell you the secret. I have been sworn to secrecy. But you guys, it's massive. It is a massive secret that I actually came upon accidentally, thanks to a J school professor.
This would only happen to you, Karen. Like, you would be
It's
the
so
only person
crazy. It's
that
so
this
crazy how I found
massive storyline just kind of falls into your lap accidentally.
out. Right? And then I got it confirmed, so I know it's real. So I'm not telling you when it's coming out.
You're the Adam Schefter of Missouri Gymnastics.
I know.
It's impressive.
And
you can't tell.
I
That's
must say, like, I've really shown my journalistic integrity by not just sharing the things that I know.
No.
With everyone. There are very few people that know what I know. But soon enough, I was told today when it may be coming. And I just have to say, it's huge, huge news. Huge news.
Oh.
Oh, and and sorry. I'm so excited. But anyway, Mizzou picked up a commitment from Ashlyn Conley, who was one of the 4 visitors that was here a couple weekends ago. So welcome. And also, it looks like from social media that Kenny Griffin is back to practicing. When I was at open practice a couple weeks ago, it looked like she was dealing with some ankle, Achilles, something like that. She was stretching the entire time. And I guess she's been out for a little bit, but she is back. She posted a video back on the beam doing flips and stuff. So yay, that's very exciting. Yeah, so I guess that's all I have with gymnastics. I probably said too much or not enough.
Yep.
By the time we talk next week, guys, we'll probably know what the secret is. Anyway, one last thing before we get out of here. Please head to rockmnation.com. Support all the work of so many student journalists and some really amazing writers as well. We put out 40-something articles again last week. The 20,000 plus words that the Matts, Watkins, and Harris have put together for men's basketball player previews are starting to come out. The first one came out on Trent Burns. There's 5,000 more. They've got like 15 of them, I think they're working on. Conference previews will start be coming out. Like the whole queue in chorus is just basketball, basketball, basketball. So that's about to overtake us here at the website. And that is why it's so important for all of us to constantly share our work, because the Olympic sports are extremely important as well. And together we all overpower them. Yeah. So you can support us by subscribing to this podcast feed, leaving us a 5-star review, or joining our subscription service, Rock M Plus. It is super cheap. It costs $5 a month. And we have a brand new messaging system that we just started where you can actually like things with emojis, and I don't know, it looks good. Pretty excited about it. And you can follow us on the Twitter. I am at Karen Steger. Dylan is at Dylan R. Heinrich. Matthew is Gustafson 27. If I say it in a sing-songy voice, it sounds more right. And then we also have at Rory Whetstone 7 and at Abigail _clap with a K. Clap with a K. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Let's try this. M-I-Z.
Z-O-O-Q.
Oh my gosh, thank
That's
you.
probably
guys.
the best one we've had.
Yeah,
That is the best
That was
one.
good.
You know why? Because we're all here and because Rory's here.
The power of the quad box.
Good at everything.
It's that Chicago
See,
blood.
it's that Chicago in me, guys. Truly.
She's so humble.
You know,
She
when there's
also
two
is.
Chicagoans
That's the
on a
irony, is
podcast, all of
Rory's
a sudden
actually
things start to
very
click.
nice person.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you.
Just
really
the
appreciate
clue that we needed to get this right.
Exactly.
I'm the personality hire of the bunch, guys.
That's not true. Like, you're a really good journalist.
Oh my gosh. All right. We'll see you
I got
next week
homework. I gotta do.
with,
Right?
with more news. Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.